Okay, circles and double links. I'd like you to please imagine that there's a flower here, but instead of having the most intense part of the flower in the middle that is the most concentrated, it's exactly the opposite. The middle is the most abstract, long-term part. And the farther we go out in the circle, the more intensely concrete and focused it gets. So I'm drawing it this way to help you imagine that. So concrete and focused and specific, more abstract and longer term. So you've seen this before, and please draw it with me if you don't mind. The general circle is in the middle. General circle. Let's say this is an intentional community, and they have 4 functional circles. Finance, promotion, membership, land. Let's say that on the land there's another circle, repair and maintenance. The building committee, the building circle. We review your building plans and help you meet our own internally created zoning and building codes. Let's say this one here is site planning on your home site. All of these little circles are more specific, focused, and concrete aspects of the whole physical infrastructure. Or maybe this is called physical infrastructure. Now, probably there's also a community building circle, but really it wouldn't overlap. So let's say this here is the community building circle, which means the building, not that we're building community, but we have a building. Well, probably the outside of the building is taken care of by, here we have landscaping. The outside of the building is probably taken care of by repair and maintenance. We probably have community meals, the guest room and the laundry. Do you see how we're getting much more concrete as we go from the center out? And is there something about this that's confusing? Or is it just you can't read my handwriting?
I just don't see that well, but the community building, that's a physical structure.
The physical building.
That's all I was.
And I meant to stick it in here without overlapping with anything. Now let's say we have a community currency and we put that here on top of finance. Community alternative currency. Not all communities do, many do not, but I'm just sticking it on there. Oh, membership, we want people to have workshops and tours. Oh, we want to have a work exchanger program, so I'll put WEX, Wexers. A lot of communities call their work exchangers Wexers, and so do we in my community. Okay, promotion. Okay, we have newsletter. And we have website. Do we have all that many people? Let's say we did. Great. What if we didn't? Well, some of us would be in different circles, meeting at different times. When a community is new or small, that's the way it is. If we are a nonprofit organization operating in a business-like manner and we have employees, or we are a business and we have employees, we will have one person doing most of these things. We will have different people being in one, quote, department or circle rather than another. Although we could have a person do more than one thing. I work in the tours part of our company. Let's say we have tours. But I also edit the newsletter. That could happen in a business or a nonprofit. But right now I'm just using an intentional community as an example. So instead of all of us deciding everything in big meetings where we all decide every detail of everything, we have organized a structure where we have the most big picture overview abstract stuff. the big circles that have to do with these 5 big things. And then we have what you could call smaller circles that are even more concrete, focused, hold that question, and specific. This is a way of having a structure that organizes our work so that we can get everything done. We don't have to all do everything, and we can save time because we're focusing on the thing that we care about or that we know about. If I was in this community, I'd be in promotion because that's what I know about, and I like to do it. Okay? In my community, it's a bunch of guys. In this one, the chainsaw backhoe guys, the gnarly guys. But then there's women in there too. Why? Because they're gnarly chainsaw backhoe ladies, or because the guys are cute. Okay, so the point, and they are. The point is, you just go where you want to. If it's an intentional community, if you request permission to be in that circle, and you are consented to. We'll get to that on Sunday. Meanwhile, this is really pretty overarching because the general circle creates the membership circle and gives its domain, membership services, and its aims. We'll talk about aims soon. The general circle creates the finance circle. The general circle creates this one, and this one, and this one. Land use, land, physical infrastructure creates these. Promotion creates these, etc. So we're going like this. More concrete. What are these called? Smaller circles? Well, that's not quite true. We've got more people in the tour circle than we have in membership because we rotate tours. We've got 12 people in that circle. Each time we have a tour, a different person does it. But there's only 4 people in here, or maybe 5. See, it doesn't really mean smaller. But smaller is one way to call it. These are called functional circles because they have specific functions. Another way to call it, which is kind of funny, is higher and lower circles. Higher, better, more valuable? No. Higher in terms of looking at it from a higher perspective of perspective, because we're looking at the overview of everything. And we're looking at the overview of land and physical infrastructure, and we're looking at the overview of membership stuff. Do you see what I mean by higher and lower? When you read sociocracy literature, you will see higher and lower. That's what they'll say. I have a friend in Denmark, a sociocracy trainer, who calls these daughter circles and granddaughter circles because they give birth to them. And at the community that Lauren helped train, they call it that. She took that idea back, and that's what they call it. Okay, people. So we're populated by people. And we have 2 people from the membership general big functional circle who are members of the general circle, and 2 from finance, and 2 from the community building, and 2 from promotion, and 2 from land use. We have other people too, but I'm just going to assume that you know they're there. I'll make a few circles here, but right now I want to talk about the operations leader. Operations leader. And the representative. Okay, I am the representative from the finance circle to the general circle. My arrow goes this way. I make sure the general circle knows all of the news, events, suggestions, plans, concerns, worries, proposals, everything going on in finance. Who hears my report? All of these people hear it. Plus, I make it written. Goes in the minutes of our general circle. I, over here, am the representative from the community building circle. I do the same with all the stuff that we're taking care of. Who hears me? Well, all the other people in this general circle. Well, I'm here. I'm the representative from promotions, and everybody in the general circle knows everything going on in promotions. And I hear all the land and physical infrastructure, and I hear membership. Okay, I just said representative. I hope you can read this. Operations leader. I am the operations leader of the membership circle. I tell the membership circle the news of the whole community. How did I find it out? Well, I was in that meeting. Plus, it's in the minutes. And I tell the finance circle everything going on, and I tell the community building circle, and I tell the promotion circle, and I tell the land use. Is that true out here too?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Gee, do we have to have 2 people? Can't we have 1? Yeah, we can have 1 if that's a 1-person job. Why not? If there's not that many of us to go around. But if there are, then certainly we have 2. Okay, is that all they do? Yes. In policy meetings, middle poster on the wall, one of the 3 things the circle does, they do work meetings, operational meetings, and they do policy meetings, longer, more formal, has 5 processes plus. That's where we evaluate proposals. In a policy meeting, I, the representative, that's my role. I learn what we're doing here, and when I go to the general circle, I tell them. That's all I do. I, the operations leader, learn what we're doing in the general circle, and then I tell them and land. There's one other thing I can do. It's optional. Hold your question, okay? Don't forget. We've got a question from you and a question from Jackson, okay? All right. So the point is, there's 2 people between every circle. Do you mean they're full consent deciding member? They have full consent rights in each circle? Yes, they do. They make plans and they make proposals and they do all the stuff in each circle? Yes, they do. They go to 2 different meetings? Yes, they do. We don't have time to go to 2 different meetings.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm. We hope you do. We hope you'll make time because ultimately you'll be saving time. Why? Sociocracy tends to work out ultimately with its effectiveness that you get more done in less time. But first, not at first, because you're still learning it, like you know that bike with training wheels and it's a little hard to ride a bike until you learn how. Or when you're first learning French and you mispronounce it and you can't say a word in the future or past tense, but after a while you can. Okay, so that's what I want to tell you at this moment about those circles. Would you please take a look at page don't go by the table of contents, but if you look on page 8, you'll see this handy little drawing. This is Pioneer Valley Co-Housing. They have 4 functional circles that are their big functional circles. There are 2 people from every functional circle that are members of the general circle, which you'll see there in the middle. Hey, ladies and gents, how many people are in their general circle and go to the general circle meetings? 8. Does anybody think differently? 8. That's right, 8. Wait a minute. Only 8 people decide the big things about the community? Yes, but the but is really they can't make any decision without a member of each of the major functional circles speaking to how that will or will not affect their circle negatively. And the promotion circle really can't make any decision without the people and website and newsletter letting them know how that decision would or would not affect the website and the newsletter negatively. And we can always have meetings of the whole community for big stuff, controversial stuff, complex, controversial, big. Like what? Like what's a big issue in communities that's controversial and complex?
Membership.
Dogs. Kids. Noise.
Money.
And starting with the letter P.
Well, someone said dogs. I was about to meow and bark, but that might be silly on the video. On the other hand, I've been known to meow and bark. So, yeah, pet policy. Kids. What are our agreements about various things where we as a community affect the child-raising practices of those parents? What are the things about those parents' child-raising practices which affect us? What are dangers for children that we can all agree on, that we all help them not do that? Please do not stand on the roof and try to do Superman. We can all get permission from every parent to go up and help Johnny come down from the roof and not try to jump off of it, even if he has a cape on. We make agreements about big things, but have you ever seen how touchy people are about their little creatures, whether they be two-legged or four-legged. Have you noticed that? In your life, in this lifetime? Have you really ever noticed that? So that's a really good way to use the whole group. Okay? Now, we choose who our representatives are. Who chooses the finance representative? Who do you think, ladies and gentlemen? The finance circle, exactly. And so it is with each of these. And so we choose the person that we want to really represent our needs, our domain, our aims, and our circle. And can they object to a proposal that the general circle is making if it messes up something we're doing here?
Yes.
And when they say, that's right. And when we explain how it'll mess up what we're doing, the other people go, oh, because they didn't know. Why didn't they know? They don't have the specific information we do. Well, this person does. So both of us might object. But the point is, this is a nested hierarchy. This is a circular hierarchy. So please check again, page 8. You can see that the Common House doesn't have any smaller, you might say, dotted circles on it, but they could. They just didn't decide to. And the community life circle means how we create community spirit, create community energy here. So you can see all those, the fun circle, the data, I don't know quite what that means. Anyway, buildings and grounds, plants, animals, and landscapes, they call it PALS. They've decided to call the general circle members the OAFS. Yeah, the OAFS, which is their funny way of dealing with people in communities' aversion to the idea of leadership. You and I probably think leadership is just fine, but people in intentional communities, particularly if they are card-carrying hippies from the 60s, do not want anybody to have a role that isn't like we were all in the same boat doing all the same things all at the same time. So they call themselves a cute and funny name, but I forget what it stands for. Organizational Association Friends, or I don't know, something. OAFS. I think that's cute. I think it's cute too. Okay, so the point is, this is how they decided to make their community bunch up into circles. A community could do it a completely different way. A bicycle co-op, a car co-op, a food co-op, an activist group could do it a completely different way. However they want to do it, who decides? They decide. Okay, now, Jackson.
What if you want to put tours on the website?
You mean to announce that they exist?
Yeah, so basically, the difference between like a nesting architecture and tagging. So what if you want to like take tours and website, which aren't directly connected right now, and have them work together?
Well, you answer that. What do they do?
They could create a connection with a double link.
Well, they're all in the same community, say, or if this is a company, they're all in the same company.
Sure.
Or if this is a co-op, they're all in the same co-op.
But
So,
then, the downside potentially is that
is there a
My guess is the sign your battery is low.
which one? I wonder.
The one that's feeding the audio here, I'll get Paul's attention. We'll probably fix it at the break, which is coming up.
Yes, that's right. Okay, well, the break isn't quite here yet.
Yep.
So, okay, let's go back to where we were. My brain needs to recalibrating. Okay. First of all,
yeah.
everybody in the group knows we have tours.
Yeah.
And we on the website want to let people know about the tours. So here's what I do. Hello, Jack. Tell me again when the tours are. I'm writing it down. Tell me again all the details of tours. Okay. Would you look at the website right now and tell us anything that's inaccurate? Oh, what? No, not on Sundays anymore? Okay, thank you. We just ask them. We don't have to create a link.
Well, it is.
What if there's like direct collaboration that's like really important to getting something done?
What do you think we do?
Form a circle, I just heard some of us.
Well, you could, or we could just have a meeting between two circles. Or you could create a helping circle between some of our members and some of that circle's members to do that collaborative thing. Who decides what we do?
We do.
Right.
What's the definition?
But just like best practices, like who decides?
Well, whoever wants to. We, in our circle of promotion, want to coordinate with membership regarding tours and regarding what we put on the website, regarding the steps of the membership process, what kind of folks we're looking for, how much do you pay, do you get your money back, all that stuff. Because if we're following my advice, we're putting it all on the website for total transparency for people who might want to join us or not. And so we just ask them. How do we ask them? Well, any way we want. Do we have to create a circle to do that? Only if we want to, but we don't have to. Who decides? Well, we just figure it out on the fly. So let me tell you something. Sociocracy has what you might call a strict structure, but within that structure it's infinitely flexible, just like a bicycle or a skeleton. If I didn't have a skeleton, I'd be laying on the floor like a blob. And I'd have all these muscles, but they'd have nothing to attach to, and I couldn't move around. Not to mention, my heart wouldn't pump exactly because, things wouldn't be working right. I need to have the structure. So you might say, well, God, that makes you rigid like a robot. Hell no, I can do this. Okay, let's take a bicycle. It's got a rigid frame. It's got these rigid disc-shaped round things that whirl around. It has a handlebar that's shaped like a U, with like a stem going down. These things are rigid. They're not made out of spaghetti. They're made out of a tubular stainless steel or something. Okay, but infinitely we can turn that bicycle this way, that way, as you saw the demonstration this morning. We can go uphill and down, and we can do wheelies. The point is, we can do things on that bike because it's got a structure, but we've got infinite variety within it. Just like this thing I'm wearing, this is my protoplasm engine. I can do loads of stuff, but I have a nice rigid structure inside. So do you. I used to tease my brother when he was a little kid and I was a little kid by saying, I've got a skeleton inside me and it's coming out. And he would tease
Scare
me.
the crap out of me.
Anyway, just so you'll know what kind of family we have.
Scarred.
Yeah, a poor kid. You've got a skeleton inside you too, John.
No.
Okay, the point being, we can do it however we like. We just need to get consent from our circle to do it the way we do it. And we can get information if we just ask for it. If we have to co-create something with a different circle, we just go talk to them, figure out how we're going to do it, and then we do it. Sarah.
So the question I had earlier is you were talking about the double linking situation, and you were saying that the only thing the representative does is pass on information from the group that person is representing.
And in policy meetings. In the working or in operations meeting, they have no particular role. They just do the work they do.
So in a policy meeting in the general circle, does that mean that the representative, and I think you said that they get to be part of the consent though, right?
They all do. All of these people that
So
you
the
see,
representatives are part of the consent. But
they're part of the general circle. They have full consent rights. They help do the long-term planning and the overview. If they need to create a new circle, the general circle, the representatives help create that. If they need to bunch two together for some reason, after a while, when they see like there's no point having two anymore because they're, for some reason, they help to do that.
so what other functions are there in the general circle besides conveying information from the functional groups?
Coordinating the activities of these groups, especially when or if they conflict, or if there's a question what to do.
So the representatives don't do that coordination, the other members of the general circle do?
No, they all do,
Okay,
together.
that's what I was trying to figure out what you meant when you said they only do this.
I'm sorry. I see how that's misleading. I mean to say that when they're in the work mode or the operations meeting, work meetings, they don't have a special role. So now more feedback, thank you. The point is, what do they do in the general circle? Well, they create new circles, or they put two circles together. They deal with issues that are community-wide that come from one of these, quote, lower circles or functional circles that are too big for what they're doing. It needs to be a whole community thing to look at. So they, representing the whole community with the views of all these folks, with their long-term planning hats on, take care of that.
So the role of the representatives isn't different from the role of the operations leaders. It's just that they have a special role of being the information bearers from the functional groups into the general circle.
That's right. Thank you so much for making that clearer, Sarah. Let me try saying that again in a better way. So what I'm going to do is flip this over for just a minute to show you something. All of us in the general circle all of us in the general circle together do the work of the general circle. And at the beginning, when we're giving our reports, we report from our circle. And when we go back and have a policy meeting in our functional circle, we, the operations leader, report all that. So we do those things uniquely, but when we're here together, we all do the work of longer-term planning, more abstract thinking, more overview thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It was just, you're used to the word only earlier. That was
Yeah, I can see why that's misleading. I apologize.
That's okay, I got it.
Okay.
I had originally the idea that the general circle was everybody in the community, but I'm sort of hearing that maybe that's not true.
That's correct. It's not true.
And my question is, how is the general circle selected?
Well, that has to do with implementation. So I'll answer you quickly now and in great detail when we get to that on Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, how we do it in general is we could start from where we are in our group. We've probably already got committees. You might have a person who's the chairperson or the focalizer. We just call them operations leader, and we put them in the general circle. Then we ask each of these committees, who are the larger functional circles, to please elect, through the elections process, selecting people for roles, a representative. Voila. Or we could do 52 pickup and start from scratch, and the whole community, this will take a while, chooses each operations leader through the selecting people for roles process. And then each operations leader goes and finds people that they want to be in their circle, asks them that they want to be. They do the consenting circle members thing to all agree on working with each other relative to that domain, area of responsibility, relative to their aims. We'll get to those later this afternoon. And then once we have our circle, we choose the representative from among those people. See? 2 ways to do it. I said that kind of fast. We'll go over it again more slowly.
Okay.